We'll start as we always do with a question that's come in advance from our online internet-based audience joining us from all over the world. And then we'll open it up to any questions that any of you might have. So don't be shy, there's a microphone right here. Any question that anyone might have, just feel free to come up to the mic and tell us your name and ask your question. But we'll start with one that has come in advance online. Is it best to follow my intuition or my common sense and keep fighting for the truth, even while my body and mind resist it and fight me till the death, quite literally? Or is there any alternative to deal with the resistance that arises in the journey to truth? So, first of all, no one has actually ever been killed by their own ego, so don't worry about it. It feels like a fight to the death, but as long as the fight takes place only in your mind, and you don't actually let the ego tell you what to do, nobody's dying. Don't worry about it. So yeah, it was a bit of a complicated way of asking, but the general question is, I get an intuition of what I'm supposed to do, and then inside my head, my ego basically fights me to what feels like the death to not follow my intuition. Remember a couple of things. First of all, remember that the ego actually is for your benefit. The ego is not evil and bad and wrong. It's not like you've got, a little demon in your head trying to ruin your life. The ego is not your enemy at the core. It has not arisen to bring you down. The ego has arisen as you grew in your family, in your education system, in your culture, in your childhood, in all of your formative years. It has arisen as a way of making sense of your world and your place in it. The ego's job is to basically define who you are. Oh, this is me. As babies, we don't know who we are. As babies, we don't even realize that we are separate from the breast, right? It's that very heavenly time of development where we quite literally feel like it's us and the breast are one. And then we start to get a little bit older, and we realize, oh, there's this separate being mom, separate being dad, separate being sister or brother. And who we are in relation to them, what we experience, what we're told, how we see them with each other, all of this forms our subconscious mind and the growth of the ego. Every time as you grow and someone says to you, oh, you're a good boy, or you're a good girl, or you should be stronger, you should be more manly, boys don't cry, or girls don't do this, or all of that, it forms a bit of the ego. Every time someone says to you, oh, you are like that, you're lazy, you're irresponsible, or you are so smart, you are the only one who can do anything. And it's not always verbally. Sometimes it's non-verbally. Sometimes we just know what our role is. So the ego is formed up really of a growing subconscious mind that begins almost as a blank slate. It's like a, blank pen drive that you stick in your computer, a blank hard disk. And slowly, 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 as you work on the computer system, as you drag and drop files, as you do work, that hard drive starts to fill up. It fills up with specific files. Oh, this recipe. Oh, this letter. Oh, this design. And it also fills up with ways you do things. Right? Are you the type who's quickly switching from one program to another? Your hard drive adapts to that. In the same way, the subconscious, it picks up specific information and it picks up ways of being, what we call sanskaras. These aspects that form so much of us, these impressions, or our vasanas. This is all in our subconscious, and it all forms a part of the ego. But remember that the ego arises actually just to help you navigate your way in the world, to help you understand who you are. As you grow, though, it becomes a big hurdle, an obstacle in the path. But it's not evil, and this is important because you don't want to go around feeling evil being in your head who just wants bad things from you, wants your downfall. No. If you are self-sabotaging, if you're harming yourself, it's because at some point in your life you came to believe that you didn't deserve love, or you didn't deserve success, or that you were worthless. And that self-sabotage is a way of simply proving that what I believe is true. It's a way of making my way of thinking be true, so that I don't have to face the difficulty of being proven wrong. So that's the role of the ego. Now, when you have an intuition arises from openness, from spaciousness, from freshness, from courage, from being here now. And in this moment, you have an intuition, and it's deep, and it's powerful. Well, that's scary to the ego, because remember, the ego is all about the things of the past. The ego is all about borders and boundaries and roles and labels. Intuition is all about freedom, connection, that pulse of the present moment and what it's telling you. So as you have an intuition to do something that arises from the way that the divine flows through you in that moment, yeah, chances are it's going to scare the ego, because chances are it's going to blow what you think already out of the water. So many of us in our life move through our lives afraid, small, because of what we've been told, because of what the egos think. Oh, you better not do this. Oh, you better not do that. Oh, people won't like you if you do this. Oh, you'll be humiliated if you do that. Oh, good girls don't do that. Oh, and we've got... And the ego keeps us really small and stuck. And the intuition says, stand up, go there. Claim this, become this, try that, embrace this, share that. Take the leap. And the ego says, no. So recognize again, the ego is not evil. It's not there for your downfall. It thinks it is helping you. It thinks you say, thanks so much, but I'm actually going to go a different way today. And start small. It's hard to take a massive leap at once. But the intuition doesn't always only give us big ideas. It's not always only about like, leave your family, leave your job, leave your country. Go. It's not always like that. A lot of times it's something really little. Like, talk to that person. Stop here for a moment. Do this a little differently. A lot of times it's really simple, small, subtle things. Try it out. Listen. See where it brings you. Make a commitment that every day you're going to listen to your intuition at least once. And the more you listen to it, the stronger it gets. A lot of people have difficulty even accessing it because we've suppressed it for so long. Become quiet. Listen to it. And then move forward accordingly. And again, start small. It's scary to start big. Start small. Start to develop a relationship. Trust it. Know that it's going to guide you in the right place. And then slowly, slowly, slowly you'll realize out of those voices inside you, which one is really your friend, which is the intuition, and which one thinks it means well, but actually has long overstayed its usefulness, and that's the ego. Other questions? Yeah, any question that anyone has? Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I would like to have the question about the elements. One of the elements of the body, which is water. I'm the scientist, and many years I devoted to see what is water is. And when we pray, when we meditate, 70% of our body is water. How its effect to this water, which is in us, meditation? Thank you so much.
Really interesting question. So, she said the body, she's a scientist, and she said the body is mostly water. How does that which we do, our meditation and other things, how does that impact the water inside of us? There's a beautiful book based on beautiful research about the actual molecular structure of water. We know it's H2O, but that H2O looks different in ice, for example, as it does in a pond or a stream or the ocean or Ganga or your saliva, or the molecular structure is different. And incredible work. I'm forgetting his name at the moment. I'm sorry? Whoever knows it, just stand up and shout it loudly. Thank you. He did this beautiful work where he took photographs of different molecules of water, not just from different natural places, but actually that had been exposed to different experiences. So some of the water, he yelled at it. Literally, you are awful, you are stupid. I mean, just bawled it out. And then took photographs. Some of the water, he spoke in loving, wonderful ways to it. He sung to it. And it's an incredible piece of science, of art, of discovery. I'm sure it's available online. And what you see are these molecular structures, these molecules of water, crystals of water, and how they change based on the way you talk to them, how they become full and vibrant and open or contracted. There's more recent research done by some Dutch scientists who we've actually been working with on something called chaotic and coherent water. Again, same H2O molecules, but if you look at a, little bit of water from your body, from a river, from a stream, what you'll see is that water is either coherent or chaotic. And what that means is each molecule of water is either vibrating in coherence with the other molecules, like they're vibrating together, or it's all chaotic. This one's like this one's like that. It looks like a beautiful ballet performance versus a whole bunch of drunk college students at a party. Imagine the different ways that two dances could look. One is a bunch of individual drunk kids bouncing around. Another is a ballet in which they are dancing together. That's the difference of how these molecules look. And what they've discovered is not only is about how they look, but the coherent water has significantly different impacts on the human body, on immune system cells, on plant growth. They've done all this research on using these two different types of water, watching how plants grow, watching how the human body works, how our immune system works. And what they found over and over again is when the water is coherent, you get health, you get strength, you get vibrancy, whether it's in a tree or whether it's in our immune system. Where the water is chaotic, you get illness. So these are two examples, and there's a lot more, but these are just two that I happen to be easily aware of scientific inquiry into the different ways that water molecules respond to life. Now, the water in our body, our body is between 70, 80, if you're really young, even more, % water. What that means is we are impacted by the magnetic pull of the moon and the planets. So anyone who doubts astrology, for example, one very simple way of thinking about it is we know that the moon and the pull of the moon on the earth is responsible for high tide and low tide. The magnetic pull between the moon and the earth is enough to move God knows how many trillions of gallons of water in the difference between high tide and low tide. That same impact is upon us. We're not sweeping up the beach and sweeping down the beach and up the beach, but it would be incredibly foolish of us to understand how the moon impacts the ocean and to say it doesn't impact us. So at the bare minimum, we know that we are impacted by that magnetic pull of the moon, of the planets. But we're also impacted by that which happens within us. Think about how you feel inside. Just close your eyes for a moment and think about the last time that someone really yelled at you and made you feel awful? It could be a parent, it could be a spouse, it could be your boss. But someone who really yelled at you, really criticized you, really made you feel just small and awful. Okay. How did that experience and even the memory of it, how does it feel in your body? Huh? Tight in the body, yes. Other things, how does your body feel? Contracted, absolutely. Tight, contracted. Anything else? Yeah, well, as we think about it, it revives it. It makes it all brand new and true again. Absolutely. So when we are being told that there's something wrong with us, that we're bad, we're being yelled at, we feel it physically. Now, we don't have the perception to experience individual molecules of H2O in our bodies, most of us at least. And yet, we have so much water in us that just thinking about being yelled at, and what do we feel? We feel contracted. Not just in our mind, it's not just our mind contracts, but the actual experience in the body, in our back, in our neck, in our shoulders, in our heart, in our solar plexus, like we feel that. Think about it for too long. Suddenly you're going to lose your appetite for dinner. Your digestion's going to get all messed up. Your brain's not going to work very well. If you've got a project to do, you're going to find you can't do it so well. The impact of that is huge. Now close your eyes and think about the last time that someone just made you feel really good. It may have been a random person paying you a random compliment. May have been somebody just giving you a smile, a hug, some positive energy. How does that feel in the body? Light? Bright? I'm sorry? Warm? Yeah. Expansive? So see the difference? And those are just two examples. So the power of meditation, because the two examples I gave you, you don't unfortunately have any control over it. Some people are going to bawl you out and tell you you're awful. Some people, by God's grace, are going to appreciate you and tell you wonderful things and smile at you and hug you. But we don't actually have control over it. And the last thing you want to become is like a beggar for people to appreciate you. Right? We've all, or many of us have probably experienced times of our life like that, where you feel like you're just sort of moving through the world looking hopelessly and helplessly and desperately for someone to just, give me some positive feelings here. Someone just to love me and appreciate me. And it's not a good feeling. You feel desperate, you feel hopeless, you feel like a beggar for love. Meditation is the solution because you don't actually need someone else to do that. Through your meditative practice, through the chanting of mantra, through prayer, through ritual, through service, through chanting, singing, through yoga, through so many ways, we actually can literally bring the molecules of water within us into coherence. We can change the structure of them. We can turn the felt sense experience within us into warmth, into brightness, into light, into expansion. Because look, you did it just by thinking about it. Means that power is in you. We didn't have to pair up. If this were, a day-long seminar instead of a 45-minute satsang, I would have had you pair up and, we would have done this in experiments. But you don't actually need that because you can generate that within you. And slowly you'll be able to generate it without even thinking about the other person and what they said or did. Your own awareness will be able to do that. So, yeah, it's not just the mind that changes. It literally are the cells of the body that change. It's why meditation can heal so much. It's why changing your mindset changes everything. Because, yeah, we are made of water. And as we bring those molecules into a different state of being, everything changes. Absolutely. Yeah, great question. First time I ever got to talk about that in satsang. Other questions? Yes. Yeah, come forward to the microphone, then everyone can hear you.
So my question is...
Come just a little closer so we can hear you better.
Yeah, Pranam Ma. So my question is, what is the fastest way, easiest and the fastest way to साक्षात शिव जी के दर्शन करने का easiest और fastest way क्या है?
Fast track to enlightenment. Love. Love. Bhakti. Love God. Think about it. Raise your hand if you're a parent here. Raise your hand if you've got kids. What's the most likely way that you're going to give your kid what they want? If they manipulate you and yell at you for it, or if they crawl in your lap and start nuzzling against you and hugging you and kissing you and loving you, right? Which kid are you going to respond to? Right? The nuzzly, sweet, huggy one, right? And especially if you know that it's real love. If you think that's just a manipulation, then you won't respond so well. But if it's real love, you'll give your life for them. You'd give them anything. It's what inspires people to get up and go to work every day. To give their kids a better life, to give their kids something. Parents all over the world of every religion, every walk of life, every socioeconomic status, do without so their kids can have. Like a sacrifice, it's an act of love. If human parents have that capacity, it's been given to us by God. The fastest way to that experience of enlightenment, I think, is through loving God. Because when you love, nothing else matters. I mean, think about it from the other perspective. Think about what are the greatest obstacles to enlightenment. If enlightenment is our truth, if we say this Sat Chit Anand, this truth, existence, consciousness, bliss that is our true nature, Aham Brahmasmi, why can't I realize it? If it is my nature, if I am Brahman, Why don't I know it? What are the obstacles? Ego, desires, anger, rag and dvesh, right? All of these things are what keep us from living in that state of truth. When you are in love, nothing matters, right? When you're not in love, lots of things matter. When you are in love, there's dinner, there's not dinner. Dinner's good, dinner's not so good. The house is clean, the house isn't so clean. It's a fancy house, it's a tent under the stars. You don't care. You're in love. Nothing matters. Right? It's like Shabari feeding Bhagwan Ram the peels, and he's eating them. Nobody's concerned. It doesn't taste so good. It's her love. So where love is, I think all of the obstacles just disappear. That which you were angry at. I mean, imagine you had a tough day at the office, got stuck in traffic, flat tire on the way home, all of this stuff. Saw things in a shop window you wanted to buy, but you didn't have enough money. You get home, and you fall in the arms of your beloved, and you're really in love. Not just cohabiting, really in love. The day is over. That traffic, it's gone. You're not thinking about the items in the store window. You're not taking your boss into bed with you, or your colleagues into bed with you. That love has just wiped the rest away. So if human love of one human experience to another human experience is enough to do that, then when you love God, and therefore start to be able to see God in all, in everything, then all of the stuff that keeps you from having that sakshat darshan, that keeps you from seeing yourself, that which blinds you, burns away. Burns away. And if you think of the divine as one who's handing out grace, well, your love of God surely is that which is going to tap into that grace. There's a beautiful story that Pujya Swamiji tells of a king who had gone off in the old days to, capture other kingdoms and get more wealth. And as he was about to head back to his kingdom, he sent a message to all of his queens to send him a list of what they wanted. Silks and jewels and spices and, all sorts of things that kings would bring back from other kingdoms in those days. And all of his queens sent a list, except one. And one queen sent back a piece of paper that just had the number 1 written on it. And the king says to his minister, he says, she's stupid. Like, didn't she understand the assignment? Number 1, what does that mean? I want a list. And his minister was a very wise man. And he said, Your Majesty, she's saying you are her number 1. She only wants you. And so the king, of course, was so touched. And he sent what the other ones wanted. He sent the silks and the jewels and all of that. But he went personally to the one who had sent that. And as Pujya Swamiji says, he says, wherever the kings go, everything goes with him. All the carriages, all the soldiers, all the wealth, like it follows the king. And so by wanting nothing but God, you actually end up getting all the other benefits. If all you want are the benefits, God is very kind. You may get them. But then you end up with just the benefits and not the presence of the divine. So if you turn your focus and your attention on just loving God, I think everything else manifests from there. Yeah, beautiful. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. A beautiful day to our family joining us online. And I look so forward to being together with you all again tomorrow. And if we didn't have a chance to take your question tonight, just sit a little closer up, get your hand up faster tomorrow, and we'll start with your questions tomorrow. And so much love to you all.